Hi, everybody, and welcome. My name is Marla Mack. I am a genius coach and a human design specialist.
And I'm Natalie Uroda, an Enlightened performance coach, and I am also a Discover Your Sacred Gifts certified guide.
So, Natalie and I are actually here today. So, it's going to be speaking with you and also a conversation between Natalie and me. And we're here because we're here to ask you some really poignant questions.
Mhm.
Are you somebody who is currently unsatisfied with their work and you're looking for something that is a better fit, that's more aligned, it's more soul satisfying and more meaningful? Is that you? Or are you trading your soul for uninspiring work just to pay the bills, but deep down you're actually searching for something more meaningful?
And wouldn't it be wonderful to be paid for what you love to do?
Hmm.
I do.
Yes.
But we know the
And
secret.
we do. But, that's one of the things I want to bring up is, it was a journey for myself and it was a journey for Natalie as well.
Absolutely.
And, this is something that we wanted to actually make a video about because we have something that's even bigger to tell you about. But, the question is, who needs to hear this message?
Right.
So if you are an entrepreneurial soul, so that's somebody who's either running your own business, you're considering starting a business, you could be a freelancer, independent contractor, maybe you're self employed, maybe you're just looking at career options or a change. This is something that can really resonate with you, especially if you're finding that you're just really having difficulty trying to find that right fit for you.
Absolutely. And it's for anyone who feels that there's just something missing. You've achieved a role or you've made something happen, thinking you got to some place that was going to give you the contentment and the meaning and the feeling of being on purpose. And it's kind of fallen short. Or perhaps you have felt that before, but it doesn't feel that way anymore. And now you're looking for some kind of change.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I wanted to say really quickly, we're going to talk a little bit more at the end of this video about what we have, but Natalie and I have actually joined forces because we both have, yay,
I
we both
know
have
it's
programs.
divine. Yes, divinely joined.
Yes, we are
Yep.
divinely joined,
Yep.
and the timing was right. And Natalie has an incredible program, which she will talk about, and I have an incredible program, and we've merged together to make a doubly incredible program. And so mine is called Discover Your Genius, and Natalie, what's yours called?
It is Discover Your Sacred Gifts.
So each of us runs our program for about 4 weeks each. So what we've done is we've actually joined forces and we've come together to create an 8-week program called Discover Your Sacred Genius. So if you are somebody who's trying to connect your soul and your purpose and something, that you want to do and put that into a business or put that into a career and find something that's far more soul satisfying and you get income success. People are paying you because you're working in your genius zone. You're lighting up, you're delivering your je ne sais quoi the way that you do it, and only you can do it. And so many of us, or so many people actually, I should say, out there, it's statistically a very high number. I have a number of 85%. And Natalie, you said you
Heard
came out with another number.
something higher today. So yes, yes.
Yeah. And it's an actual Gallup poll where they find that the number that I had was 85%
Okay.
of people are not engaged with their work. They're dissatisfied with their work. Only 15% are satisfied with the work that they do. So if you and that was like 1 billion people that they
Yep.
that they looked at. And so if you think about the amount of frustration and anger and bitterness and disappointment that shows up with 850 million people across the planet unhappy with the work that they're doing, that's creating a lot of negative energy.
Right. And
And it,
that's
yeah,
just
go
a
ahead.
reflection. That's a reflection of a portion. It's only 1 billion people. There are 8 billion people almost on the earth right now. And to think about I'm sure you can even think of someone if it's not you yourself. And what we're going to be talking about in this program is getting you to know your inner workings so that the outer working can actually reflect what it is that you want, getting to be more understanding about yourself, more in alignment with what's going on. This is important because so many of us don't take that into account when we choose the work that we do.
Absolutely. I find that many of us were raised with the whole idea of whatever we displayed as a natural talent or a gift or a penchant or a passion, for many people have been, frankly poo-pooed, right? Oh, wait, you can't get paid doing that. That's not, get you anything.
Happened to
Go find a safe, secure
yes,
job,
yes,
right?
absolutely.
Go to school, get good grades, get a good job, and then in 40 years you'll have a pension and, Bob's your uncle.
Yeah.
And that's not how the world works anymore. In fact, the nature work has been evolving dramatically. And there, if you're somebody who's been kind of wondering, like, oh, you're either feeling a little numb, or you're feeling a little, you could even be burnt out
Yep.
because you're performing and doing work in a space that is not your genius. If you are working in your genius, you're lit up, you're happy, you're satisfied. It's very exciting. But if you're not, it can get very draining, energetically, emotionally, even physically draining. And that is an epidemic in our world today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so many people just don't know how to tap into what their giftedness is. I was talking to Marla the other day, and I just actually read something in the tribal communities where there's shamanism is big and important, and where there's just such an honoring. Children aren't taught their gifts, they're taught how to use their genius, so that's the skills that they know as they move through life. There's never this gap or this sort of feeling of how am I connected. So what we're hoping to do is to be able to bring you back to those pragmatic tools that you can use to be able to know what it is that's going to give you the life that you want, doing the things that you want to do.
Absolutely. I love it. And so, what I love about it is Natalie has her own process with Discover Your Sacred Gifts. Do you want to tell people a little bit about the 24 gifts, Natalie?
Sure. Oh my goodness.
Well,
Do
not don't list all
I won't be
24, right?
telling them.
That's the secret.
Keeping it a secret. And I mean, many of you probably already have a good idea of what a gift might be of yours. A gift shows up in a way that you are doing something and time just seems to sort of stand still. People are like, wow, you've been at that for 3 hours already. And for you, it might have felt like 5 minutes. And when there's this constant sort of ease and grace and reverence and almost mindlessness, you've got this inner working, this gift that probably has shown up ever since you were young. And these innate gifts end up being with you from birth until your passing. And we don't know where they come from. They're just in you. And you probably can tell that you have them because other people who don't have them, you far outweigh or excel in those gifts and allow them to be great in their gifts as well. So this is what the program will show you. It'll show you where it is that you should be looking. I don't like shoulding. Where some clues given to what where to explore and what to look at. And man, when you line up several of your highest gifts in one activity or one position of work or career choice or your business, man, life becomes so much easier.
And it's amazing because you shine, right? It really puts you on sort of a different level in terms of the work and the potential. And what's so great is, I mean, you point out a couple of things. First of all, I love to say your genius leaves clues, right? Your genius is something that you were born with, and you develop it over time if you have the opportunity to nurture it. And Natalie, like you were saying, your gifts are something that you really have, and they're really part of who you are.
Yes, they
you
are.
know and I think it's something to recognize. It really honors our individuality and our uniqueness,
Absolutely.
because not everybody has the same set of gifts, just like not everybody has the same genius. And that's what makes it outstanding. And so instead of trying to sort of do the square peg and round hole, shoehorn yourself into a position or something, and try to make it work, instead, let's give yourself the opportunity to learn your gifts, learn your genius, and then now you can make decisions that are much more confidently in terms of walking into the right opportunities and being able to say no to things that are not a fit for you.
Absolutely. And the world needs it right now. It needs us all
Mhm.
to shine. We need to be our individual selves using our gifts because there's holes and pockets everywhere. And if you're in your gifts, you are shining and filling in those gaps, and you're showing other people and role modeling what it's like. And when they see you living in that joy and that ease and seeing you live on purpose, well, you probably will inspire many people to do the same. And it's just such a need right now. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you
Yep.
got it. Yes, I do believe definitely if you're in your gifts, in your genius, it does inspire others. It's almost like a permission slip to be like, oh, okay, you know what? I can be exactly who I am. And I find that sometimes if we're trying to shoehorn ourselves into something that we're not, we're really, not only are we dampening our light, but we're really not, that void stays empty because they're waiting for your gifts and your genius to actually fill that void and help people and impact others, and that opportunity is just not being tapped into.
It's doing a disservice, a huge
Hmm.
service, not only to yourself, to your family, to your community, to everything that ripples out. You've not offered the energy that's necessary for just a very thriving situation. And so if you're not thriving, which when you are just doing, again, life-sucking work or work that really isn't aligned to what it is that is your, not even going to say it's your passion, that's not necessarily true, but something that's aligned in your gifts and in your genius, well, again, you feel the disharmony within yourself, and we want to look for that alignment and make sure that you're living in that flow. This is where flow state comes in. If you've ever heard that term, you want that momentum to take you. And if you're forcing yourself, exactly how Marla said, that round peg in the square hole, or square hole, square peg in the round hole, whichever
Yeah.
way, it doesn't matter. But make your own hole and make your own peg, and learn what it is here, and
Love it.
learn what it is. And this is again, knowing your internal framework so that you can function within to make your outside be what it is that you want to be. And it's very important. And I don't think a lot of people really tune into that. They sort of tune out when they check in at 9 o'clock in the morning. And life is different now. 9 o'clock in the morning looks far different. So why not shake it up a little bit more and make it exactly what you want it to look like?
Absolutely. And now one of the questions that I got more recently was, I'm 50 years old, I'm 60 years old, I'm 70 years old. Is this too late for me? And, but it's like, hey, if you're here, it's not too late because,
Right on.
not only is it an opportunity to re-explore, but and sort of discover in some cases for the first time. Some of these people, they've probably taken a job because that was all that was available. I know certainly even just going back to my mother's generation and that there were really limited career options. And today, that's not what the landscape looks like at all. The nature of work has evolved so rapidly and it's continuing to shift. And it's an opportunity to be able to look at our gifts. I think there are a lot of people actually who are coming to a crossroads in their life and their career and saying, you know what, I'm burnt out, or I feel numb, or I know I'm being called to something else. I know there's something more for me. I just don't know exactly what that looks like.
Yes, exactly. And again, they're feeling the shift. This emptiness or hollow within them is becoming louder and louder. And no matter how we kind of try and quell it or quiet it down, this is your inner calling. Your inner work is coming out. And so many of us just again have just not had the opportunity to explore. We've stayed secure is a word, but again, nothing is wrong with that. However, has the security come at a cost for you not being able to live your genius? And
Mhm.
a lot of people think, hey, you know what? It's too much rocking the boat. It's too much shaking it up. But what if it is shaking it up in a way that is making your life greater? And no matter the age that you are, I've had clients who are older, and it just has maybe signified some decisions that they're wanting to make at that time. And they've just been like, oh, great, now I can do this. I have permission because these are my gifts. That's why they've been calling me all this time. Creation can happen from birth to whenever. And plus with the discover your sacred gifts, as well as with the genius work, this is where people are going to find out more about others as well. There'll be more of an understanding. So better relationships, better compassion towards other, loss of judgment towards self and others, so that life can actually be a lot lighter and a lot more fun. And it's a fun little kind of adventure to be able to find out what's my gift? What's your gift? How are you set up for this? Oh, okay, great. This is where my kind of weaknesses are, but you've got the strength. Let's work together and collaborate. So it can come in all sorts of shapes and forms. And to think that just because of whatever age you are, you are going to deny yourself the opportunity to know more. That's something I would love to question and talk to you about if for anyone who's thinking or feeling that way.
And you bring up a good point, because I think it's a really fair time to start questioning a lot of the assumptions. I find even myself sometimes try to paint a picture and I go, wait a second, is that really the only option or the only way to look at it? Or is that something we've just been conditioned to say or do or think? Even when it comes to something that could be considered as broad as a coach, there are so many ways to be a coach and to be an awesome coach that, to say that your business has to look like this or look like this, that's not necessarily true. And I think that goes with so many different aspects. But this isn't just about being a business owner or moving into a business or being self-employed. This could also imply, be good for career change, or it could be good to even shift what you're doing now. Maybe you're not leaving your job, but maybe now you're recognizing your gifts and your genius, and you have an opportunity to tailor your job and your responsibilities and your duties that they fit better in that zone of your sacred gifts and your genius. And you can delegate stuff that isn't yours that other people would actually be happy to take on because it does fall in their genius.
Exactly. We've been conditioned, trained, socialized. I don't know where it came from really, but it's like,
Yeah.
you got to do it all yourself. You got to do it all yourself. And whether that's from perfectionist tendencies or just, if you're going to make this work, it's got to come from your own hard work. Well, that's not the way things are anymore. And now it's like, hey, wait a second. I'm doing a disservice to that person for not allowing them to use their gifts, or I'm not using my gifts in a way, and therefore things just aren't moving as smoothly. So it really is important to realize we need to be able to share and learn and experience and explore and allow ourselves the mistake because of kind of, okay, you've already learned what doesn't work. Now what does work? And what I found with learning Discover Your Sacred Gifts and everything I've learned from genius work, I now can give myself permission to explore and find out more. And my coaching business practice looks nothing like anyone else's. I can guarantee it. And there's no blame, there's no shame, there's no sadness or fear or anything around it. I know that who I am, this works perfectly. And because of that, my life is easier. And this is what I teach my clients as well. So exactly what you said, working with clients and what people will gain from this program as well is they'll know, well, wait a second, I've never even thought of that before, but now I can change things to make it work, that I am spending most of my time in my genius, which I love, and it's fun and I'm productive and it's great and it's lucrative. And I'm allowing other people the opportunity to do what they need to do as well, what they want to do. So
Yeah, I love it. And it's such a juicy space to be in. I mean, it's so much fun. It's so much flow. There's a
absolutely.
lot of laughter.
It's so much good. So good. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. This is awesome. And
Great.
so I think this is probably a good time to talk a little bit about the program and how it works. What do you think?
Excellent. Oh, absolutely. Great. So we are running this course. It is going to be coming very soon. Please make sure you click on the link below to find out when the next course is going.
Oh, speaking of that, why don't we jump to the slides?
Oh, let's do it.
Do. All right.
You're in charge of
Hang on
that.
a second. Yeah, it is my turn. Okay, so I'm going to share screen. Oh, you need to help me.
Oh, I need to do that. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
you need to do the
Oh,
clicky click thing.
all right.
So the power of Zoom.
I love
All
this.
right.
And so here we go.
Yeah, so for those of you watching the video, we're just going to show you a couple of slides. It'll give you all the information. It will feature the link for the Discover Your Sacred Genius program. So thank you. I am the host now.
There
Thank you
you
so
go.
much, Natalie.
Yes, you are.
So what we've done is we've taken the Discover Your Sacred Gifts program and we've taken the Discover Your Genius program and we've smushed the names together and it turns out to be Discover Your Sacred Genius. So
Marla was in her genius when she came up with that. And I'm like, there's no other name. It must be that. So, and that's just great. That's just great.
Exactly. And it's just like neat smoosh. Okay, so here we go. So here is the Discover Your Sacred Genius for those who want a few details about it. Natalie, can you see the screen?
Absolutely. Well done.
Awesome. Okay. So it is a collaboration between Natalie's program, Discover Your Sacred Gifts, and my program, Discover Your Genius. So Natalie, do you want to give a couple of highlights about how Discover Your Sacred Gifts works?
By all means. So it's a very, what can I say? the whole program is going to require you to put some commitment in it, because the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. The way Discover Your Sacred Gifts program works, it is rolled out bit by bit. So you are going to get a digital program, an audio program that you can follow with all the worksheets, and you were not going to be asked to be doing them all at once. And it will actually do you no good to be doing that. So for those of you that are very eager and love to jump ahead, it's actually going to be causing more problems for you. And I'm going to encourage you to walk, not run, because you want to savor this information and be able to really ponder, introspect, take your time with it. So the way it works is our first week is going to be both Marla and I kind of giving an orientation, doing a bit of welcome, introducing ourselves again, and introducing ourselves more in depth probably, and getting everyone else to introduce themselves as well. And then you're going to be given a bit of information or a bit of homework each week. Following that, every week at the end, there's a debrief. And those debriefs are going to give you more and more clues until at the end, you've got a really good, solid foundation on the direction that you're going to want to take. And then from that point, we go on to Marla's work.
Absolutely. And so the process is facilitated. You walk through this by, the person who said this is escaping me, but it was sort of you can't use the same mindset to solve a problem as the one that's created. So if you're in a situation where you are looking for those answers, it can be a challenge for you to do this on your own. And this is why Natalie's work with Discover Your Sacred Gifts is so vital, is because you have somebody who is trained in this, has the material in this, and can seriously shortcut your amount of time to actually figure out your gifts. And it's a case of sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees, right? Other people can see our gifts in us more easily and more
100%.
readily than we can see ourselves.
100%.
Yeah. And I think this is awesome. And so your process is 4 weeks long for the Discover Your Sacred Gifts.
3 weeks for calls, 3 weeks in between. So I kind of sandwich those in between. Yes.
Got it. Perfect.
Yeah.
And so we start with Natalie's Discover Your Sacred Gifts. And then once you have those gifts, your top gifts lined up and you're aware of them, then we move into Discover Your Genius, which is a different process, but it is another way to really discover and get to know yourself at a much deeper level. And it is highlighting your uniqueness. So I use a tool called Human Design. And if you've never experienced human design, you're in for a treat.